Reaction set 1 is a review of some of the reactions that we do in first year chemistry. Simple synthesis reactions involve two elements combining to form an ionic compound. You might have a diatomic like oxygen, and so in the first step, the oxygen molecule, the bonds would have to be broken, and then each atom takes on its charge, gains or loses electrons, and you need to make sure that you make the neutral compound, so you would need 2 lithiums to cancel the charge on oxygen. And then as a final step, go ahead and use the coefficients and balance the reaction. In a simple decomposition reaction, one ionic compound, a binary compound with 2 elements, will break apart into its 2 elements. So in this case, calcium and oxygen, and because oxygen is diatomic, you would need to say O2. Calcium was positive, it needs positive 2, it needs to gain some electrons to go back to neutral. Oxygen was negative 2, it needs to lose 2 electrons to go back to neutral, so it all sort of works out. So just make sure you look for diatomics, and then you'll need to go back and balance the reaction. These are the 7 diatomic molecules. These elements are always doubled up, covalently bonded to each other. If you have any other element, like this reaction says a copper metal, you would just say Cu. If in a reaction it talks about hydrogen gas, you need to say H2. A single replacement reaction will have a single element and an ionic compound, and so sodium and nitrate already exist as ions. Lithium will lose an electron and become a +1 ion, and so you will just sort of swap the plus and minus ions. Lithium is going to bump sodium out of the compound and replace it with and bond with nitrate. Sodium then will be by itself. So you'll make the compound lithium nitrate, check the charges. So you'd have LiNO3 plus, and then the element that's by itself, sodium +1, will gain an electron from the one that lithium lost and become neutral sodium, and so you just have Na. So just check that last element and make sure see whether it's diatomic or not. In a double replacement reaction, you have 2 ionic compounds, so you already have 4 ions, 2 from each compound. And so all you're going to do is switch the partners, put the positive from the first compound with the negative from the second, and mix the other 2 or combine the other 2. Make sure you cancel the charges. So in this case, we would have CaSO4 plus, and then barium oxide. And then you would go back and make sure the equation is balanced. Combustion reactions are different because they involve covalent compounds with Lewis structures where the atoms are sharing electrons, not plus and minus ions like the other reactions. And so in this case, for this reaction to start, you have to break all the original bonds and then form the products. So for this reaction, the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen all come apart, and we're going to make the products. Combustion always has the same 2 products, carbon dioxide and water. It doesn't matter what the formula of the hydrocarbon is, as long as it contains carbon, hydrogen, and maybe oxygen. When you react it with the oxygen in the air, the products are always CO2 and water. And then as a last step, you would balance the atoms. I would balance the carbon and hydrogen first, and then do the oxygen last. And so you have 4 atoms of oxygen on the right, and so we would need a 2 here. If you ever have trouble balancing these, sometimes in first year in the end we needed an uneven number, of oxygen, something and a half. It just means that you can't balance it with one of the hydrocarbons. So if you ever have trouble balancing, try putting a 2 coefficient in front of the hydrocarbon and see if that will help you balance it.